It took me a really long time to get comfortable writing a B2B marketing strategy, so much so that I failed countless times at it. Not only was I unsure where to even start, what process to follow, which model to use, which model to throw away completely, but I just felt this overwhelming sense of imposter syndrome, of feeling like I wasn't good enough. And I think because I didn't have a marketing degree at the time, that was also another niggling little imposter syndrome issue that I faced. So if you're anything like me and you've been struggling to know where to start, or you just want to sense check if the marketing strategy you've been putting together is fit for purpose, this video will be perfect. Today I am sharing the 8 biggest mistakes I've made when making a marketing strategy and what I did to overcome them. Which is such perfect timing because my business just turned 8 years old. And by the way, if you don't know me, I'm B2B Jade and I've been working in B2B marketing for more than 18 years. I've been running my own marketing company for the last 8 years, and more recently I built my strategy course, the B2B Breakthrough Academy, based on insights and feedback from you, feeling like there was nothing to really show you how to create a marketing strategy from scratch. I've taken all the complexity out of marketing planning and put it together in a really simple 6-module course. If you are interested, you can have a little look through all of the links that I've shared in the description box. So let's dive into the 8 biggest mistakes that I made when creating marketing strategies for any B2B company. So the first biggest mistake that I made was thinking that a marketing strategy was a more basic Excel project plan. So if I was asked, can you show us your marketing strategy? I would bring up a Excel spreadsheet and it would have a few objectives that I kind of made up. And then it would be like, here's all the different campaigns and activities. And then I would walk them through, here's what's happening when. And it felt strategic because everything was lined up and pulled together. But actually a marketing strategy is much more about the process that you follow to go from understanding, here is where we need to get to as a business, and here is marketing's role within that. And when you have those two things disjointed, marketing ends up just doing a bunch of stuff that is not aligned with an overall strategy. So ask yourself now, how did I create my current strategy? Did I really go through a clear, robust program of activities to get there? Or is this just a simple template with all the different campaigns pulled together and everything in one place? That is more of a project or an action plan, and we really want to be going deeper than that to get our strategy more robust. The second biggest mistake I made, and this is a biggie, when I used to write marketing objectives, they were either too fluffy, too high level, or they were just tactics. For example, overhaul our brand with a new website and new messaging. That is an activity. That is not an objective. So what we want to work on is, what are we getting to? And the way that I run marketing objectives is slightly different than the typical marketing advice out there, because I used to get really stuck on this. When we look at models like SMART, it does take you closer to being more strategic, but what I didn't like about SMART is that it did focus way too much on the more immediate output, like getting leads or increasing retention rate. But actually, my argument is that we need to understand what is at the root of our issue. So let's say you've got a problem where your competitors are undercutting you on price, and you've been losing customers recently because your competitors can offer the same thing but at a lower price. With SMART, or with how we receive generic marketing objectives advice, it's pretty tempting to set the marketing objective as increase customer retention rate. But I feel like that's a given, that is the business focus area that everyone is rallying around. How do we increase this problem? How do we increase this retention rate so that that's no longer a problem to us? Is kind of obvious. I don't feel like that is the objective. So for me, I would set an objective to be much more around understand what our customers actually want and need and value, and what frustrates them, and build our business around servicing that. So then the insights that you get are going to fuel everything that your business does, because marketing is the only business that really looks out to the customer. And that is why we are so much more valuable than people give us credit for. Don't worry though, you're not going to end up with a marketing objective that's immeasurable. In the BBA process, what we do is we have the marketing objective as that key focus area, so that it's like, okay, let's really understand what is going to help us get to where we need to be as a business. But then we have key result measurables. So in the templates, for example, you'd be able to then map out, okay, what results are we looking for? Okay, we want to generate 50 meetings with existing clients within a 3-month period so that our salespeople can win them back over. But that's only one thing that we're doing, because this marketing objective is not just about winning some clients back, because you will not be getting to the root of the issue if you do that. So just have a really good think about whether or not your objectives are tactics based, or if they're making any assumptions about what the business needs, and make sure that it's really getting to the heart of the issue and is not just papering over the cracks. The third one that I really struggled with, and I can imagine that this affects every one of us in B2B marketing, is selecting too many strategies. We are doing too many things. Do you know what? It is unbelievable how many people think that more is more. It really isn't. Like, more is 100% less. Like, we need to really get focused on doing 2 or 3 things to a really, really good standard. And then maybe if there's resource and time, which there wasn't for me when I was in B2B marketing inside businesses, we can experiment with a couple of side strategies. But actually what we find with the leaders that we're working with is the goalposts are always shifting. Oh, we should be on YouTube. We should do podcasting. We need to do Google ads. I saw a competitor was advertising at the local rugby team. Why aren't we doing that? Oh, the sales rep says, there's a billboard outside my wife's dentist surgery and lots of people go there, so we should be there. And I see it every day. Or the local roundabout by my kids' school, and you just get flooded with ideas and you shove them all into your spreadsheet or onto your list and you get nowhere. Marketers need to be able to step up, shoulders back, be more confident and assertive to throw these back at people in a really good way. So we're not saying like, no, that's an awful idea. We're like, hey, I love this. That's really cool. What issue were you trying to solve when you thought of that idea? Oh, you feel like your ideal clients are not hearing about you. They've low brand awareness. Let me look at the low brand awareness issue that we're facing and let me come up with some suggestions for you in our next marketing review meeting, because that's really of high importance to me as well. And so then you're not telling them no in a clashy way. You're just saying to them, I hear what you're saying and I'm with you. And this can be really great for building relationships. So developing that assertiveness and confidence to say no in the right ways can not only make sure that you're not taking on too much, but it's also going to make sure that you are respected in your organization. And body language goes such a long way. And so mistake number 4 that I used to make was being too apologetic. I'm going to do a little bit of role playing for this one. So like, okay, let's imagine that I've been challenged on something that we want to do in marketing and they're telling me it's not a good idea. And I'm sort of like, yeah, so what I was thinking, yeah, like I love that your idea was this and, oh, that's so great. And I was just thinking of the best way that we could serve them, the customers. That is not making me a strategic part of this room. So I'm looking right now at a big board table that I'm sitting at. I learned to put my shoulders back and be bright. And when they're explaining their issue, I would nod. I'd say, while they're talking, I'm like really taking in what they're saying. I'm not feeling like they're attacking me. I'm like listening. I'm on their level. They know more about the business than me. I know more about marketing than them. We are equal. There's no like them up there, me cowering down here. And ultimately, if long-term they don't want to listen to a strategic marketer, this probably won't be the place for me anyway. So my confidence is high. My value isn't attached to how they see me in this work context. So they're telling me if this isn't working, then I'm like listening and nodding and I hear you. That is such a valid point, and I'd thought about that a lot as well. And so we're really trying to like be on the same level and use our hands and whatever feels authentic to you, but not being apologetic. If they're suggesting a strategy that won't work, here are my concerns with that idea. We can do that. This is your business. Let me be the internal consultant to you. Here's the things I see with that. So budgetary constraints, resource constraints, we're already doing these things. I fear that if we bring that one in too, we might pull away from that. Is there something you'd like for me to consider replacing that with? And again, this is why creating a robust marketing strategy stops these ad hoc random conversations, because you've already laid out strategically what you're going to do and why. So then if someone says to me, well, why are you doing a video podcast instead of Google ads? I can clearly explain to them, because of my company's marketing strategy, the B2B Jade business, I can tell them why. I can say, well, my long form, short form content strategy generates 80% of my sales. And so by me investing in the right equipment and the new video editor who's working on this video right now, that is going to lead to more sales than if I plug out there Google ads, which I could also do, but due to resource being on my own, it's not something I'm doing right now, where I'm reaching an audience who isn't really aware of me just yet. That would be a more secondary activity that I might look to do. But because I've strategically selected my strategies, I'm able to answer it. It's not just a random conversation. Should we do this or this or this or this? And it's like, I don't know. We can reference back to our strategy. Not understanding what the business actually needs to achieve is another big mistake that B2B marketing managers are making. By not finding out in the marketing review stage of a marketing strategy, like, what does the company need to do? What are the financial goals? What stands in our way? Marketing can easily just go off and become obsessed with leads. A really good example of this is that I once did a piece of work on the SEO where I increased the number of sales leads that we were getting, but they weren't a good fit. And I learned the hard way later on that this is not where they wanted my attention. They wanted me to help with nurturing our existing accounts, making sure that we would keep our really huge 6-figure clients happy, gain insights. But I hadn't asked the question. I hadn't been strategic enough to know that really marketing is there to help support the business in both anticipating, identifying, and meeting the needs of its customers while making a profit, and also in an ethical manner, if you want to go further into those sorts of realms. That is really the role of marketing. But I feel like in B2B, we've just become so obsessed with getting leads that we've lost sight of the fact that it's about satisfying customer needs. Like, take my business, for example. Right now, I'm obsessed with the students who are sitting inside the B2B Breakthrough Academy course. I want to make sure things are going well for them, because I can't go out there and sell my course to you guys and be like, hey, this could be really great for you, if the people using it are like, that doesn't work. That is really what I mean about marketing. Like, I work on my own. I only have me as my resource. I do hire external specialists like tech, copy, video editing, a few different things, but nothing crazy. And I know that the most important thing is making sure that my offer is absolutely spot on for what my customers need. And any shred of insight that tells me it isn't, bang, we're straight on it. What are we doing? How are we changing this? How can we tweak it? The community needs to be like this, the emails like that, the workflows, tweak. And then, only then, do I feel in a good position to say to people, hey, go check out my course. It's really great, because actually I feel confident that what we have works. Now, if you think about ethics in marketing, it is unethical for me to say my course is so great and then actually it turns out to be a pile of junk, and then I get loads of refund requests. So it's almost pointless. So really think about, what is the definition of marketing to you? Is it about just get leads, get impressions, get web visits? Or have you really spoken to your business owners about what they actually need the business to achieve? Another huge mistake I made was not following a clear process. I feel like there's so many different ways to make a marketing strategy and so many guides on the internet promising you the perfect marketing strategy template. You hit download and then you're just overwhelmed by Excel spreadsheets and different planners to put in, and you think, oh, this one's only about content. This one's clearly only about data. And there's nothing that I could find that was just, okay, this is a simple way to do it. I also found that things were overcomplicated. Like, I'm not a fan of the jargon, of the big models. Like, maybe when you're in a huge global corporate and there's a team of like 50, 100 of you, there is time to really dive into these different models and really get into things. But actually, when you're a solo marketing person or in a small team, we need action. We just need to crack on and get on with it. And we don't need the jargon. And we want the practical steps to get from where we are now to having a clear marketing strategy. The BBA process, which is the process I've always followed, and I've kind of based it on the typical generic marketing planning framework. I've just made it my own by making it more simple. You have the 6 steps. If you would like to find out what those 6 steps are, I have linked a little guide with a video training down in the show notes. Have a little read of that. watch the training video, and just maybe a good exercise for you is to go through that guide, that workbook, and just tick off any areas that you feel, okay, I have mastered that, or actually, no, I really need to brush up on my skills. And following that, there is also a marketing review template that can be available for you to start step 1. I will also link that below. I'm not going to sit here and say that my BBA process is the only way to write a great marketing strategy, but what I will say is make sure that you're comfortable that the process you're following makes sense to you. I went through so many different processes thinking, I don't really know what I'm doing here. How does this work? Just get through this part, quick, on to the next step. That is not good. You need to be able to understand why you're doing something, what to toss out, what to keep in, where to put your energy, and what sections really not to miss out. That is one thing that I do love about what I've built with BBA, is that there's video training guides for every single little section. And so, not to toot my own horn, but I honestly think it is what I would have wanted when I was a marketing manager. And that is what I built. I listened to you guys for 2 years on TikTok about your frustrations with marketing courses and what type of support you would need. And so for every module, there is a template, and the process that you're taken through is drip fed to you over 13 weeks. And then there's literal, for every template, there's a little video trainings for each tiny section of that. So that as you're working through the template, you're like, okay, what does Jade say about that bit? And I just feel like if I'd had that, I could have saved a decade of just agony. So check it out through the link in my bio if you are interested in having a look. Speaking of following a process, the other thing that caught me out once I had learned a marketing process is following the process a bit too fiercely and actually losing my heart and head and passion in the process. I really believe that the best marketers, they are the ones who, while they're in the shower, on the drive to some place, listening to some really cool music, their brain is strategizing. If you see me sitting like this, hang on, let me do my strategy face. Yeah, it's like a kind of, I'm not there. I'm gone. I'm gone. My brain, I'm doing it right now. My brain is whirring, and there are ideas and problem solving is taking place. That is what is missing when marketing managers become too process driven, too obsessed with data, too analytical. And I'm going to go out there and say, marketing is not engineering. Marketing is not a process. 80% there is process. You can't just magic up results. You do need to follow a plan and a process. But marketers, like I've said before, they are the people who are looking outside of the business. Keep this in mind. What other department is looking at customers and what they're doing and how they're behaving than us? We are the thinkers, the strategists. So try not to get lost in your process and bring that brain of yours supercharged, inspired, excited. What can we do to really solve this problem? Let's think outside the box. Let's not just ask other marketers, oh, what do you do for your event strategy? Yes, do that. But think to yourself, what can we do that's really different here, that's never been done? And I'm not talking about just coming up with new ideas for the sake of it, but actually your value is in your mind and your problem solving ability. And this is another reason why we really need people off the marketing task wheel, which is where you're just doing hundreds of tasks, no room to breathe, just piling it all in. Marketers need time to let those problems sink in. They've told me there's a problem with customer retention. Right. I'm going to let this, tell me about it. Download. I'm not going to give answers right now. I'm going to think on that for a couple of days, and I'm going to let it sink in. And then this amazing idea is just going to come to me out of nowhere, and I'm going to pitch it, and I'm going to see where it sits within the strategy. That's how all my ideas come to life. For example, the reason that this video is happening is that a few weeks ago, I was looking into the TikTok potential ban, and I was thinking, right, so it sounds like it's going to be a long way away if it's happening. And also I'm getting a bit tired of the constant need to produce short form content. And I'm the type of person where if I'm talking for 3 minutes, I could talk for 40 minutes because I just love to talk. I let this settle in. I was thinking, okay, right. So literally 70% of my work comes from TikTok. What happens if TikTok's gone? Okay, that's a situation. Didn't immediately rush to an answer. It was that's a problem. We need to prepare. We've got a year, don't stress. And then it was okay, what can I do to overcome this? Okay, I didn't go, I'll go on Instagram. Let's just do Instagram, LinkedIn. I'll post on LinkedIn every day. No, I'm like, right, I've got a podcast. I've got a YouTube channel. Every now and then I post my webinar replays on the YouTube channel. I'm not particularly active on YouTube, but I've noticed people are watching it more. I need audio for my podcast. So great. So if I film it, that makes it a video podcast. So it goes on my podcast. It's a video for YouTube. Okay. And then I can actually turn those 30-minute videos into probably like 20 clips for TikTok anyway, and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So I'm going to create this new plan where I hire a video editor to make my YouTube videos really great, which hopefully you're enjoying these new style videos. And that was my answer to this strategic issue of I'm a content creator and my main platform may disappear at some point. And while that's only a small example of a little strategy for my small company, I think it goes to show that really using that creative mind to problem solve and think differently about a challenge ahead of you and really stay excited about and focused on the problem as opposed to just thinking about tactics. And again, that leads back to what I said about marketing objectives. If your marketing objective is purely output based, you're probably going to end up focused and obsessed with just output based tactics like get meetings. How do we get meetings? Whereas if you look at what's underneath the issue, is really going to help you to get a lot better at using that creative problem solving mind. That is your value as a marketer. That's probably why you wanted to get into marketing. You didn't get into marketing to just like do a bunch of stuff. It's that passion, it's that excitement. And the last mistake that I'm going to talk about that is super important is when I was writing marketing strategies, I wasn't getting buy-in along the way. So I think this is why the marketing review piece is so important, because there is so much interaction and interfacing with sales, with commercial, with your leaders, by having that time with them to understand where is this business going? What are the challenges? What are the financial goals? What's in our way? Where do we need to get to? What are we building our strategy around? You're starting with them. And so then when you arrive at the end piece where you're presenting the strategy, you're constantly referencing back to exactly what they said they wanted. And it is such a powerful thing to do. I've had people take the B2B Breakthrough Academy course and after the first module just say, I'm already more respected in my business because I've been asking the questions. I've had emails from CEOs saying, thank you so much. Our marketing manager is asking me questions I hadn't even thought about. It is so easy to feel like leadership and sales colleagues are the enemy, but if you can keep them on side, if you can really get their buy-in and talk to them and listen to them, you're going to have so much more success with your marketing plan in the end. I know I struggled for a really long time to build that confidence, to build that assertiveness, and I truly believe that the more strategic we get, and the more process-driven we are, and the more we trust our intuition, the more confident we're going to be to have these difficult conversations. Did I miss any out? If there are any mistakes I missed, please comment and let me know. And I'm promising you, I have been there. I've been where you are. It is so hard, but all you need to do is break the cycle, start the process to be more strategic, one day at a time. Recognize that this is not all on you. You've been stuck on the task wheel. You've been taken for granted. They're asking you to do a million things that probably should be outsourced anyway, which all stems back to needing a bigger budget. And actually, by looking at what resources you have available to you, you probably should have been doing so much less. I actually say to a lot of marketing managers, if they come to me and they're like, I followed all the advice you've got, and this doesn't happen all the time, it's not very often, and they won't change at all. They won't budge. My budget is still 50K a year. I'm not allowed to hire anyone else. I'm like, okay, well, you are the insights and sales support team. You actually can't do very much more than that. Get as close as you can to your customers, feed back into your business. Here is what our customers want. Here is what they're not liking. Here is what we need to focus on. Do that bit really well, and you're half the way there. Help your business become more customer centric. And then if you've got time for one or two other things, great. But they need to start understanding that not resourcing marketing correctly means fewer activities. But that is a great place to start. If you enjoyed this video, I would absolutely love if you would subscribe to my channel, give me a little like, and maybe comment to tell me a little bit more about any mistakes you have made in your marketing journey. Thank you for listening in to this episode of the B2B Marketing Gap podcast. If you like my podcast, I would absolutely love a review from you, or even subscribe so that you can get regular updates on when I release my new podcast episodes. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.